Winston Churchill, the name hits different. Leader, wartime icon, walking quote machine. But here's the twist. His path to greatness, not smooth, not glamorous, and definitely not handed to him. Today, we dive into how a man labeled a failure more than once became the Prime Minister who helped steer Britain through its darkest hour. Early life. Churchill was born in 1874 into a wealthy aristocratic family. Basically the OG, born with a silver spoon. But don't get it twisted. Privilege didn't mean peace. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a political heavyweight. Brilliant, but distant. His mother, Jenny Jerome, was an American socialite known for charisma and influence. Young Winston, he felt kinda left out. His parents weren't exactly the let's go toss a ball type. He struggled in school. Teachers thought he was slow. His grades said mid. But inside, a fire was building, stubborn, ambitious, and ready to prove everyone wrong. Military beginnings. Churchill eventually found his lane, the military. After barely squeezing into the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst, he joined the cavalry because, fun fact, it was easier to get into than the infantry. He served in Cuba, India, Egypt, and South Africa. But here's where the plot twists. Churchill wasn't just a soldier. He used his military adventures to become a writer and war correspondent. He wrote books. He sent dispatches. He hustled for attention. This man built his brand before building a brand was even a thing. Escape that made him famous. During the Boer War in South Africa, Churchill was captured. Most people would have sat quietly and prayed for rescue. Churchill? Nah, he dipped. He escaped a POW camp, trekked through enemy territory, and reached safety. Boom! Instant fame across Britain. Newspapers loved him. People hyped him. His political career was about to take off. Early political wins. Churchill entered Parliament in 1900 at age 26. Confident, bold, maybe a little too bold. He bounced between political parties, pushing reforms that challenged the system, from labor rights to social insurance. His oratory talent, next level. Even people who disagreed with him couldn't deny he had bars. He became First Lord of the Admiralty, basically the boss of the British Navy, and pushed modernization hard. But then, his biggest L hit. The Gallipoli Disaster. World War I. Churchill promoted the Gallipoli Campaign, an operation meant to knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war. It failed, badly. Thousands died. Britain was humiliated. And just like that, Churchill went from rising star to national villain. People blamed him. His reputation tanked. Most folks would quit. Churchill did the opposite. He resigned, joined the front lines in France, and fought in the trenches. Imagine that. A former top cabinet minister eating mud with soldiers, just to rebuild his honor, respect. The wilderness years. After the war, Churchill returned to politics. He climbed back up, and then fell again. The 1930s hit, and he became, in the nation's eyes, irrelevant, outdated, loud, and obsessed with one topic, Germany. While Britain relaxed and assumed peace would last, Churchill warned that Hitler was rising and preparing for war. People called him dramatic, paranoid, a relic. But he kept speaking, kept writing, kept sounding the alarm. Sometimes being early looks a lot like being wrong, until it isn't. World War breaks out. Germany invades Poland. The world changes overnight. Suddenly, Churchill's warnings didn't seem so dramatic anymore. He was brought back as First Lord of the Admiralty, the exact job he'd lost decades earlier. This time, people listened. And then, in 1940, after a string of failures under the previous government, he was called to step up. Prime Minister at last. On May 10th, 1940, Winston Churchill became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Not when times were good, not when the country was calm. He took charge when Britain was literally staring down invasion and near defeat. His speeches became the backbone of British morale. We shall fight on the beaches. This was their finest hour, words that still echo today. He became the voice of unshakable defiance, the leader who refused to bow, refused to back down, refused to let tyranny win. Ending, legacy. Churchill's rise wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty. It was messy, painful, and full of public failures. But every setback built the grit he needed for the moment history demanded him. From struggling student to disgraced commander to political outcast to the Prime Minister who inspired a nation to stand and fight. That's the story of Winston Churchill, a reminder that failure isn't final, and sometimes the world needs exactly the person everyone once doubted. Enjoyed the documentary? Hit that like button, subscribe for more history breakdowns, and drop a comment on who we should cover next.